Sophie Cunningham's podcast co-host fires back at WNBA star over controversial trans athlete comments. Sophie Cunningham and her podcast co-host West Wilson have found themselves divided over the debate surrounding transgender athletes in women's sports. The WNBA star has drawn intense scrutiny and vocal support in recent weeks after vocalizing her ambitions on protecting girls against biological men. The 29-year-old underlined her support for the movement around protecting women's sports while talking with ESPN, before later doubling down on the remarks. However, now, her longtime friend and podcast co-host has publicly distanced himself from her comments, speaking out on social media to dismiss the debate.
An unlocked iPhone 14 for just $299? This renewed 128GB model gives you a vivid OLED display, 5G, and the freedom to choose your carrier. Want to check today's Amazon deal? Scan the QR code now or visit grabdeal.us/6 before it's gone.
In a post on TikTok, Wilson said, "Transgender athletes in American sports is such a borderline non-existent issue that right-wingers have convinced a massive portion of people in our country that these people are a threat to sports in America when mathematically, that's not the case at all." Wilson went on to argue that political rhetoric around the topic serves primarily to divide the public while isolating transgender individuals. In a TikTok video, West Wilson said, "Transgender athletes in American sports is such a borderline non-existent issue. There is, 10 transgender athletes in all of the NCAA," Wilson continued. "I think there are unique questions that can be handled on individual bases, but to allow this to take our attention from housing, healthcare, wars, all the other actual harmful ** in our country is dumb." The disagreement marks a sharp rift between the two childhood friends, whose joint podcast platform has routinely showcased their close relationship off the court. Back in 2022, Indiana Fever star Cunningham faced heavy backlash after sharing a post from CBS Sports host Josh Pate regarding the controversy surrounding former Penn transgender swimmer Leah Thomas and their inclusion on the women's team. Pate's post read, "Female collegiate athletes deserve so much better than this." Cunningham was forced to release a statement over the matter, at the time saying that she stands with athletes, but calling for fair competition in events. In a recent interview with ESPN, Cunningham spoke about the backlash and doubled down on her remarks, saying, "I got a lot of negative feedback about me hating trans, and I'm like, I never once said that. I think that I am here to extend love, but I also think with that love is truth, being honest. And I want to protect young girls in a locker room or young girls in sport who shouldn't have to go against biological men." Cunningham doubled down after her comments about trans athletes sparked fury. The Indiana Fever star then doubled down on her views with a not-so-subtle Instagram post on Thursday afternoon. Taking to the social media platform, the WNBA star shared pictures of her arriving before one of the Fever's recent games, with the caption, "I said what I said." She also had the location tagged as women's sports, before later changing it. Cunningham, who is a close friend to teammate Caitlin Clark, had already defended her comments before her team's Wednesday night game against Connecticut Sun. She told reporters, "There's going to be some negative comments, but there's also a lot of positive comments too. We're all human. I really don't care what other people have to say. I said what I said. I think it's common sense, and I think I will always believe in that. I stand on what I said." Cunningham was asked if her words signal a move to become more political, but she denies having any aspirations to remain outspoken on any other major issues.